this is Colleen from Keeping the Peace, Defensive Handgun Training for Women, and today I want to share with you a holster system called the Hip Hugger by Can Can Concealment. I'm very excited to have met Alison over the phone and via email, and I'm very excited to have found her product. I've been wearing it nonstop since I got it in the mail, and I'm really excited to share it with you. So here we are. Today we're going to talk about the Hip Hugger by Can Can Concealment. As you've seen in some of the photos that I just shared with you, I'm able to conceal 2 handguns, an extra magazine, 2 pocket knives, and of course my neck knife under female clothing. It doesn't have to be manly looking at all. I'm able to look like a feminine woman and still be able to conceal my firearms very comfortably and securely. So today I'm wearing the Hip Hugger under just a jean skirt and not a tight shirt. I don't wear tight shirts anymore, but without revealing too much of myself, you'll see my backup gun here, an extra magazine for my primary here. In the back, you'll see my primary firearm here. And then on the side, you'll see my Kershaw leak. And then here in the front pocket, you'll see my Benchmade 530 BK. I could put those knives in my pockets, but sometimes I use skirts without pockets, so I just wanted to show you how they fit in there. In an outfit like this one, I would most likely put those knives in the pockets, because if I have pockets, that's where I like to have the knives. And I just missed my clip. There we go. And I would have this one here. Alright. But there you go. Backup gun, extra magazine, primary firearm, and then pockets left over for other things. You wouldn't have to use an extremely loose shirt, but anything that's extremely fitted, as long as you use a patterned fabric, it should hide still very well. This holster hugs the gun into your body very tightly. It doesn't allow it to flop out away from the body, so it keeps you from having a very widened profile. So I've got a gun here and a gun here, and it still doesn't, make you look bulky. So that's a wonderful thing, especially for the ladies. Another wonderful thing about this is that it's hook and eye closure, much like the back of your bra closure. It's made out of an elastic. It has very fine stitching. And what I'll do is I'll just take it off and take it tabletop so that you can see it a little more closely. But on the person, I'll just show you. Here's your hook and eye closure. Here's the bottom of the holster. Here. And in the back, the end of your firearm extends slightly past the bottom of the holster. So here's the bottom of the holster, and there's about this much of my firearm below it. But that's not even slightly uncomfortable. It doesn't dig, it doesn't poke. There's no problem with it at all. This is a Sig Sauer P938, and this is a Kel-Tec P32, or P3AT would be the exact same size primarily, or practically. So let's take this holster tabletop. I'm excited to show it to you up close. It's beautiful. Okay, now we have the Can Can Concealment Hip Hugger tabletop. Here is their beautiful logo, hand sewn onto the inside. And we'll just look at the outside of it first, the part that you would see. Here is the very fine hook side of the hook and eye closure. You can see that it's very well trimmed in really soft against the skin material. It doesn't bite, itch, or scratch. It's just very well trimmed, and hopefully I can get up close enough to show you. It's just very nicely done. This is like the back side of your bra. It doesn't itch or scratch or poke. And the way they've done their tag also, I'll just go ahead and mention, it's really nicely sewn all the way around, and nothing itches or scratches. I don't feel this on me at all. It's a very satiny tag. Okay, this is the closure that would be at the 12 o'clock position, being right in front of my navel on my strong side, which for me is my right side. So this knife for me would sit basically at 1 o'clock if my navel was 12 o'clock. This knife would sit at the 3 o'clock position, right on my right hip. And as I go, you can see this beautiful stitching. These holsters come in both black and white, and you have a really wide variety of colors to choose from in regard to stitching and ribbon. So back to my knife at the 3 o'clock position. This could also be a magazine pouch if you wanted to put an extra magazine here. I don't like to have my reloads on the same side as my gun. I keep them over here for my support side, so we'll get to that in a second. I choose to put a knife here. Here is my Sig Sauer P938 Extreme, and it sits basically at the 5 o'clock position behind my right hip. If the ribbons were at the 6 o'clock position, which would be your spine, the gun sits directly next to it. Some people would call this a 530. It still feels basically like my 5 o'clock position holsters. It might be a little further tucked to the rear, but it sits very nicely into the curve of my hip, and it hides very, very well, better than any other holster system I've ever found. Beautiful ribbon that's reminiscent of a corset. It's just gorgeous. I love it. Okay, here's the holster that would be at the 7 o'clock position. I don't carry anything here, but if something were to happen to my right arm and I had to train myself to carry on the left-hand side of my body, my left hand would then become my strong hand. Let's say I was in a cast or something like that, or had to have some type of surgery. So this pocket I keep empty. Now we're over to the 9 o'clock position on my left hip, and that is where I keep the extra magazine for my main carry piece, which is my Sig Sauer P938. And it tucks very nicely in there. And then here is what would be the 11 o'clock position, which is directly to the left of my navel. And I have a Kel-Tec P32 in there that I would use as a backup gun. It's very thin, it doesn't take up much space at all. That would be a last ditch gun. And you can see, I'll try to get up nice and close here, this is the eye side of your hook and eye closure. And again, just very finely finished, well stitched, extremely soft. And this is the part that you would feel against the skin, and it is, how should I describe it? It's like, it's plush. It's fuzzy almost. There is absolutely nothing there that would itch or scratch or poke you. You don't even notice that it's there. It's wonderful. Here's another great benefit if you're conscious of this, and I would encourage you to be. My husband has trained me to be. It's made in the USA. The lady that owns the business, her name is Alison. She has another female partner in business, and both of them are designing this because they were looking for a good holster system for themselves, and they were unable to find something that worked well. So they've just taken it upon themselves to design something, and I think they have really, really hit the nail on the head with this. I've tried so many holster systems I can barely count them. I've been carrying in a variety of ways, depending on what kind of clothing I'm wearing. I changed from dressing around my gun on a holster, or on a belt holster, about a year ago, and started trying to dress more femininely, if that's even a word. And I've been searching for a way to do that without necessarily having belt loops. I've been carrying in belly bands made by Galco, the underwraps system, which is wonderful. It works well, but I find that anything with a Velcro system tends to itch and poke. This does not itch and poke. Also, belly bands are just not beautiful. I'll show you one here. I happen to have one on my holster demo shelf. So you can just kind of compare that. Very functional, works really well, but it's not meant to be feminine. So I just think that these ladies have really done a great job by making it beautiful, feminine, very well sewn. If this were to have to be on the outside of your clothing, it wouldn't be a nightmare. It's just beautiful. And there's a lot of variety. The sizing is a little different, I have found. I wear a size 8 in clothing. My hips are a 36, and typically that wouldn't be a large. So I have found that you have to make sure you use their sizing guide before you order. Don't order, depending on what you think of yourself size-wise. Make sure you check their measurements. They have a really nice sizing guide on their website. The large works perfectly for me. And I probably wouldn't have chosen large. I probably would have chosen the medium if I hadn't consulted their guide first. So be very sure that you do that. Another wonderful thing to think about too is they offer panels to enlarge. They work with your hook and eye, and they are about, I'm guessing, this wide. They would add another magazine pouch. So you would get about this much. I'm not being exact here, but I'm just kind of giving you something to think about. Where you could expand your band. So if you look on their website at their measurements and you don't see your size, you can use these little extension panels to possibly make your size. Another wonderful thing that this brings to mind is if I were to ever get pregnant, which I'm hoping that I will, I'll be able to use the same holster system but just order extra panels to make it work as the belly grows in pregnancy. So that's another thing to think about. I just want to mention one more thing to you, and that is holstering and unholstering with this particular system. This is not meant to be a holster that you would use for a class where you are unholstering and reholstering frequently throughout the day. This would not be something I would recommend for that. This is meant for keeping your gun close to your body and easily and deeply concealed throughout a regular workday for the ladies. Holstering the gun is a little on the complicated side because the holster is made out of elastic. It's soft. It wants to stay closed because it squeezes in toward your body. So when it's on your body and you try to holster the gun, you're going to meet resistance. You'll find yourself having to use your finger to get that part of the holster out of the way so that you can insert it. And when it's squeezed to your body and this is behind you, keep in mind at the 530 position, you might find it complicated to holster your gun without getting your fingers in the way of your muzzle. And I just did a video on muzzle safety, and I talked about this very thing. So this is something to keep in mind. Something that I've tried that's worked well for me is to just go ahead and holster this particular gun that's behind me before I put it on my body. I would recommend any guns that are behind the body, put them in first, then put the holster on. I don't find there to be much difficulty in inserting the gun that's in front of my body, for two reasons. Number one, this particular gun is just a much smoother front end. It doesn't have, you know, a sight that's sticking very far up above. Everything's just more beveled and smooth, and it just goes in more easily than my SIG does. They've really done an awesome job. I can't even tell you enough wonderful things about this holster. I'm super, super excited about it. It's hand washable. I think I showed you this already, but machine wash in cold water. I'll probably just go ahead and hand wash mine, and I probably will dry it on a towel rather than tumble drying it, just so that it'll last a little longer for me. But I can't even tell you how excited I am about this holster. So ladies out there, or guys that are looking for a holster system for the lady in your life, you really need to check out Can Can Concealment. Today would be a great day to do it. If you've just watched my video, I'm going to post a discount code at the end of the video. Keeping the Peace 15. That coupon code will get you 15% off of this holster, which retails for $59. It's worth every penny of the $59, but if you're interested in getting this with a discount, I would really encourage you to do it today with that coupon code. It would make an excellent gift for any female. Just make sure that you figure out a sneaky way to measure her first so you can consult the measurement guide. I hope that you're having an awesome day. I hope that you've enjoyed this review of Can Can Concealment's Hip Hugger holster, and you can look forward in the future to a review that I plan to do of their corset holster system. I'm not a corset wearer, but I'm really interested in reviewing their corset carry system that you can view on their website at CanCanConcealment.com. Hope you're having a wonderful day. Enjoyed the video, and God bless you. Bye.